Oi there, everyone. Welcome aboard for another deep dive. Today we're charting a course for Italy to explore a project that's really making waves in the world of inclusive design, the ULDB Italia.
Yeah, it's a fascinating project, you
Yeah.
know? It's not just restoring a vintage sailboat. It's about reimagining its entire purpose.
I like that. Reimagining its purpose.
Yeah, transforming it into a vessel of inclusivity that allows people of all abilities to experience, that freedom and joy of sailing.
Absolutely. And the sources you sent mentioned that the ULDB Italia has a rich history. Built back in 1980, it was actually the first boat from Cattolica to cross the Atlantic.
Oh, wow.
Pretty impressive. And now, thanks to the nonprofit Pure Vida 2.0 APS, it's being given a new life with a really powerful mission,
Right. Making sailing accessible to, well, everyone.
especially those with disabilities.
Exactly, yeah. And to do that, they're meticulously incorporating universal design principles throughout the entire boat.
Okay, I like that. Universal design principles.
Mhm.
But for those of us who haven't spent much time on a sailboat, can you break that down for us? What does that actually look like in practice?
Sure. So basically, every feature from the cockpit to the bathroom is designed to be usable by as many people as possible, regardless of their physical abilities.
So it's about thinking about everybody right from the start.
From the very beginning, yes.
I love that. So what are some of the specific features on the ULDB Italia that make it so unique?
Well, imagine this. You're on deck, the wind in your hair, the sun on your face. But instead of being confined to a wheelchair on the sidelines, you're right there in the cockpit with everyone else.
Front and center.
And get this. The ULDB Italia's cockpit is designed to accommodate up to 4 wheelchairs.
Wow, that's a lot. So everyone's really part of the action.
Exactly, right in the thick of it.
But wouldn't the movement of the boat, especially when it's heeling, make it hard for someone in a wheelchair to stay balanced, stay comfortable?
That's where the clever design comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
The cockpit has a system of tilting platforms that automatically adjust to counteract the heeling. So as the boat leans, the platforms stay level.
So the passengers in wheelchairs stay upright and secure.
Exactly. They can truly feel the thrill of sailing without that constant worry of, being thrown off balance.
That's amazing. Now, what about actually steering the boat?
Steering, yeah, that's a great question.
Is that something a person in a wheelchair can do on the ULDB Italia?
Absolutely. The helm, what you steer with, is adaptable. It's designed to be easily usable by someone in a wheelchair.
I see. So they can really be an active part of the sailing experience,
Mhm.
not just a passenger.
Exactly. It's about giving them that agency to actually sail the boat.
I love that. Are there other accessibility features on deck that stand out to you?
One that I find really thoughtful is they've added a crane at the stern.
A crane.
Yeah, it's used to gently lower people with disabilities into the water
For a swim?
for a swim, exactly, so they can experience the full joy of being at sea.
That's a beautiful touch. It seems like they've thought of everything to make that on-deck experience inclusive. Now, I'm curious about what's below deck. What about the accessibility of the living spaces?
Well, the ULDB Italia really shines when it comes to universal design below deck.
How's it?
They're creating a fully accessible living space below deck. It's like a comfortable mini apartment, but on the sea.
Sign me up.
You can get to this space either by an electric lift or a traditional staircase, so there are options based on individual needs and preferences.
So once you're below deck, what's the layout like?
It's incredibly spacious, and they've really used the space well. They have 10 berths. Those are basically sleeping bunks.
Right.
And 4 of those berths are specifically designed to be accessible. There's also a charting table for navigation, a galley, which is the kitchen area, and get this, 2 bathrooms.
Wow, 2 bathrooms on a sailboat. That's a luxury.
It is, and one of the bathrooms is fully equipped for wheelchair users.
I bet that makes a huge difference. What makes that
Oh.
accessible bathroom so special?
So it's designed for complete autonomy. It's got ample space to maneuver a wheelchair. And here's the really cool part. It features a rail-mounted seat that moves to different positions in the bathroom.
Interesting. So
It allows the user to access the toilet, shower, and even the sink without transferring from their wheelchair.
oh wow, that's incredible. So they can do everything independently.
Exactly, exactly. That level of independence is it's a game changer.
It really is. It sounds like the ULDB Italia is truly setting a new standard for accessibility in the world of sailing.
It is. But, it's not just about the boat itself. It's also about the people behind it. Their commitment to this idea of making sailing accessible to everyone it's really inspiring.
That's a great point. We talked about the amazing design and features, but let's talk about the human element. Who are the people driving this incredible project?
Yeah, so the sources highlight a few key figures who have been instrumental in making the ULDB Italia a reality. There are Massimo and Mauro Piani, two brothers. They're both experienced sailors. And they are actually the original owners of the ULDB Italia.
Wow.
They decided to donate the boat to Pura Vida 2.0 because they believe so strongly in the mission of inclusion.
What a remarkable act of generosity. That's really putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. Their dedication is really incredible. And then there's Fabio Vignudini.
Okay.
He's the vice president of Pura Vida 2.0. He's not only an internationally ranked sailor, but also a former Paralympic athlete who now teaches sailing courses.
Wow. So he brings a wealth of experience and passion to this project.
Absolutely, yeah. He's really a key player in this whole thing.
It's inspiring to see so many talented and passionate people coming together to make this vision a reality. But, a project of this scale can't be cheap.
You're right, yeah.
What can you tell us about the funding and support behind the ULDB Italia's restoration?
Well, yeah, that's one of the challenges they're facing. The restoration relies heavily on donations and fundraising events. For example, they recently held a dinner at the Bikini Disco dinner, and the proceeds from that went toward purchasing that adaptable helm we talked about earlier.
I bet that was a significant milestone for them. How did that impact the progress of the project?
It was crucial, actually. By buying the adaptable helm early on, they were able to figure out the exact space requirements for it. This allowed them to proceed with the construction of the interior, making sure everything would fit together perfectly.
Wow, that's really thinking ahead. So even those seemingly small steps can have a huge impact on the overall project. It's fascinating to see how all these pieces come together.
It really is, and we've only just scratched the surface of this project. There's so much more to uncover about the ULDB Italia and the impact it's having on the world of sailing and beyond.
Well, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. I can't wait to hear more.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the ULDB Italia. Before the break, we were talking about the incredible design of the accessible bathroom below deck.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear more about how that works in practice. I mean, we were discussing that rail-mounted seat that lets someone move between the different fixtures.
Right, so imagine like a smooth track system running along the walls of the bathroom.
Okay, like a miniature train track.
Exactly. And the seat's attached to this track, so it glides effortlessly from one point to another. So the user can just slide along to the toilet, the shower, or the sink, all while staying seated.
That's brilliant. It's like they've really thought about every little detail to make it as easy and effortless as possible.
Precisely. And those little details make all the difference. Even the sink is designed with accessibility in mind. It's a tilting sink, so it can be adjusted to a comfortable height.
I see. So someone using it from a seated position can easily reach it. It's amazing how much thought has gone into every aspect of the boat's design. Now, I'm curious about the overall layout below deck. I mean, we know it's spacious, but how do they manage to fit all the essentials, sleeping quarters, kitchen, navigation area into a relatively compact space?
Well, they've really embraced this idea of open space design. They've eliminated unnecessary walls and bulkheads, creating a really open and flowing environment. Think of it like a well-designed tiny house, where everything has its purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as you enter the living space, what's the first thing you see?
You immediately notice how open and inviting it feels. Right as you step in, on the right is the galley, the kitchen area. It's fully equipped with everything you'd need: oven, stovetop, sink, refrigerator. You can make a proper meal.
So you can really enjoy all the comforts of home while you're out on the open sea. What about navigation? Where's that located?
There's a charting table specifically for navigation just to your left as you enter. It's got a comfortable seat, ample space to spread out charts, all the tools you need. Essential, especially for longer journeys.
And I imagine there's plenty of storage below deck, right? I mean,
Right.
you need somewhere to put all the sailing gear, provisions, personal belongings, and such.
Storage is key on a sailboat. There's a dedicated storage area across from the smaller bathroom near the entrance. And as you go further toward the bow, the front of the boat, there's even more storage tucked away. Maybe even an extra fridge for those longer trips.
It sounds like they've struck a really nice balance between accessibility, practicality, and functionality.
Exactly. It's not just one or the other. And speaking of the bow, that's where things get even more interesting. There's a cozy seating area there with a sofa and a central table, perfect for gathering with friends and family, enjoying meals, or just relaxing and taking in the view.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
But is that area accessible for wheelchair users? It seems like it might be a bit tight space-wise.
That's where their clever design comes in again. The central table is movable and foldable, so you can easily move it out of the way. This creates a clear path for a wheelchair to access the sofa and join in on the fun.
That's such a great detail. It really encourages a sense of community and togetherness, ensuring everyone can participate in the social activities on board.
Exactly. And beyond the sofa, there's ample space for a wheelchair to maneuver, making it easy to move around and access the sleeping quarters.
Ah, yes, the sleeping quarters. Are those accessible as well?
You've got bunk beds along the sides of the boat, but the highlight is really that specially designed bathroom we discussed earlier. It's conveniently located near the bow, offering complete accessibility for those who need it.
It's remarkable how they've managed to create such a thoughtfully designed and accessible living space on a sailboat. Makes you wonder why this level of inclusivity isn't the standard in more places, doesn't it?
It really does. The ULDB Italia is a fantastic example of what we can achieve when we prioritize universal design from the get-go. Imagine if every space, buildings, transportation, recreational facilities were designed with this level of care and consideration for all users.
That would be a truly equitable and enjoyable world for everyone. And the ULEB Italia shows us it's definitely achievable. It's not just about accommodating disabilities, it's about creating spaces that are inherently usable and welcoming for everyone.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just the physical design, too. It's about the philosophy behind it. It's about challenging those preconceived notions about what people with disabilities can and can't do.
Breaking down those barriers.
Exactly. Fostering a more inclusive society as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. But let's not forget about the human element behind all of this. We talked about the Piani brothers' generosity in donating the boat. What motivated them to do that? What's their personal connection to the project and its mission?
Well, it turns out they've always been incredibly passionate about sailing and sharing that passion with others. They saw the potential for the ULDB Italia to become something really special, something that could genuinely change lives.
It must be incredibly rewarding to see their beloved boat transformed into such a powerful force for good.
I'm sure it is. And it's not just them. There's a whole community of people who have rallied behind this project, donating their time, their resources, their expertise to make it a reality.
It's a real testament to the power of shared passion and collective action. And speaking of community, we mentioned earlier that the project relies a lot on donations and fundraising efforts. Can you tell us more about how people are getting involved in supporting the ULDB Italia?
We talked about the dinner they held at the Bikini Disco dinner, but there's much more than that. They've organized all sorts of fundraising events, and they're constantly applying for grants and seeking sponsorships. You can even make a donation directly on their website.
So there are ways for people to contribute no matter how big or small their donation might be.
Absolutely. Every bit counts. And it's not just financial contributions either. They welcome volunteers who can help with anything from the restoration work to event planning to just spreading the word about the project.
It sounds like a true community effort. It's clear that the ULDB Italia is capturing the hearts and minds of people well beyond the sailing world. But I'm curious to know more about what the future holds. What are their plans once the restoration is complete?
Now that's where things get even more exciting. This boat isn't just going to sit in a harbor. They have big plans for it. It's going to set sail and make a real difference in the lives of people with disabilities.
All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into the ULGB Italia. You've really painted a picture of this amazing boat and the passionate people behind it. So what's next? What happens to the ULDB Italia once the restoration is complete?
Well, Pura Vida 2.0 has some really big plans. They see it becoming a symbol of inclusivity, in the world of sailing, showing what's possible when you design with everyone in mind.
So more than just a beautifully restored sailboat, what are their plans for the boat? What are they going to do with it?
Well, one of the main things is to have a sailing school on board, a place where people of all abilities can learn to sail and experience the joy of being out on the water.
So seasoned sailors and newcomers alike.
Exactly. And it's not just about learning the ropes. It's about fostering a sense of community,
Hmm,
breaking down barriers, proving that anything is possible when you embrace inclusivity.
I like that. A floating classroom where people can learn new skills, build confidence, and make lasting memories. But it sounds like they have more in mind than just the sailing school.
Right. They're also planning day trips and excursions along the Italian coast. Imagine, giving people with disabilities the chance to experience the beauty of the Mediterranean Sea.
Absolutely. It's an experience that everyone should be able to enjoy. Wind in your hair, the sun on your face, the salt spray.
Exactly. And they're even thinking about longer cruises through the Mediterranean, giving those with disabilities a chance to go on real sailing adventures.
That's ambitious. It really shows that limitations are often self-imposed. With the right support and design, so much is possible.
That's the idea. Challenging those perceptions, breaking down those barriers, showing what can be done.
This project is so inspiring on so many levels. It really highlights the potential of human ingenuity, the power of a shared dream. But it makes you wonder, why isn't this level of inclusivity more common? Why aren't more spaces designed this way?
That's a great point. The ULDB Italia is a perfect example of what happens when you prioritize universal design from the start. What if all architects, builders, designers had that same mindset?
Buildings, parks, transportation, everything would be accessible to everyone. What a different world that would be.
Exactly. And it's not just about checking boxes and following regulations, it's about a change in how we think. Designing for everyone benefits everyone.
The ULDB Italia is proof of that. It's also a catalyst for change. It's sparking conversations, inspiring people to rethink how we design the world around us.
Absolutely. It's more than just a boat. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we combine innovation, passion, and a genuine desire for social change.
As we come to the end of our deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember about the ULDB Italia?
It's more than just a boat. It's a symbol of human potential. Proof that collaboration and inclusivity can lead to amazing things.
Beautifully put. For anyone listening who wants to learn more about Pura Vida 2.0, maybe even support their work, how can they get involved?
They can visit the Pura Vida 2.0 website. You'll find tons of information about the project, the organization, and how to contribute. Donations, volunteering, or even just spreading the word, every bit counts.
This has been such a fascinating and inspiring journey. I have a feeling this is just the beginning for the ULDB Italia.
I think you're right.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. It's been a pleasure exploring the world of the ULDB Italia with you. And remember, inclusivity is a journey, not a destination. So what can you do to make your little corner of the world a bit more welcoming for everyone? Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for a world that celebrates all of us